use this little bit of space I got, about 17 minutes. And I don't know why I'm saying 17. I don't know exactly how many minutes I got, because I have a limited amount of space. I'm using my iPad to record this. And this is just for me. This is only for me, so it's not going to be like all my other videos with really high production values. I'm not Cecil B. DeMille, let's get real, or Steven Spielberg, or Martin Scorsese. So if you're looking for that, you might want to go elsewhere. But I just want to talk, you know. And I'm thinking about all kind of things. But this, I'm going to make this as if it could possibly go up on YouTube. But, you know, I actually been getting a lot of, like, responses and people writing to me and stuff. And I'm not used to that. I'm going to tell you something. There's a part of me that's kind of a little bit lazy. Because I'm lazy when it comes to thinking. I don't want to think. You know, I know people get, I just feel, maybe it's not really what I know. But I always feel like people would get kind of pissed if you don't write to them right away. You know, I know you got to write back to me. You got to write back. I made a really nice witty statement, so you got to write back to me. And I'm thinking, no, really, because I don't want to. I mean, I think one thing about me is things have to happen. I don't think I'm very good at the commenting on videos thing, because people can say really good things. I mean, sometimes I read something and say, wow, that's a really interesting and insightful statement. But I don't know what to say except to say, oh, that was an insightful. But, you know, you know, the truth can sound phony. You ever stop and think about that sometime when you tell the truth? It can sound like you're lying. And you know what you're saying is true. I mean, I've had many a times. Because people can always just say, oh, thank you, or that sounds nice, or that's really very smart thing, or whatever. You know, it sounds like, you know, oh, yeah, he just brushing me off. I never know how to say witty things or very intelligently sounding retorts and shit. I don't know how to do that. I'm actually simpler than I am. You know, I don't know if that's probably not even a term to use, simpler than I am. When I make videos, I'm just expressing what I think and what I feel about something. I keep thinking about my friend, you know, I kind of jokingly call him Equifarb. That's not really his name. But, you know, and I think if he heard me say that, he would know who I'm talking about. Even though I never really called him that directly. But he would always sit there and look at my videos and criticize them. You know, because he's an atheist and I'm not an atheist, okay? I'm not going to say what I am. I'm a this or that. But I'm just not an atheist. That's all I can say. I'm not an atheist. You know. But I'm not somebody who's against people who don't believe in God. I'm not, you know, and I'm not a Bible thumper. You know, the more I read the Bible, the more I realize the Bible is just fiction. Let's get real. It's fiction. However, it doesn't mean that there's no God. It's just that it's fictional work. It always has to be, you know. If you're going to write about something that you can't see, hear, taste, touch, or smell, but could be real, and may be real, and I believe is real, the thing is that anything you write about it, you know, it's not what it is. You know, I believe what the Buddhists say, that statement that they make, where they say, do not mistake the finger pointing at the moon for the moon. We mistake what's written in some particular thing as the absolute truth of something, and then we get lost, because we get stuck on it. We get fixated on that particular thing that was written somewhere, instead of moving and looking at other things. Yes, we have minds that we're constantly reinterpreting what somebody says, because the situation calls for it. Life constantly calls for adjustments. And I'm just thinking that calendar. You know, that calendar, okay, I'm just going to tell you, you know, I'm sure somebody just say, okay, so you can all look at that. It's like the dumbest thing. I got it for $1. They had it at the store. It's like, okay, so it's like, that's the dumbest thing. Anyway, here's the point. I just only got it because it was $1. It's almost like a joke. Every one of those things for each month has this guy. He's called Butt Guy. Anyway, that's the thing. But this is why I definitely won't put this up on YouTube. But this is just for me. I'm going to put a video up and I'm going to fill up all the space of this thing. So it'll probably end like right in the middle of a sentence. So it's going to be another incomplete video. Although who knows, I may be bold enough to actually put this up there. But you know, I think that the thing is that when I'm talking or thinking or writing or saying something, I'm just saying whatever is on my mind. I'm going to do this until it's no more time left. But that's all I do. I just, you know, I talk about things. I think about things. I write about stuff. I do a lot of writing. I've never published anything, but I write. I have thousands and thousands of pages. I'm always constantly expressing myself. So in a funny way, I think I'm kind of doing like what Malcolm Gladwell talks about, the 10,000 hours thing. I know he's not the one who invented that concept. But, that whole thing about being good at something. There's some people who criticize him, because he's not a scientist. He don't know what he's doing. And, and it's like pop psychology. It's like this other guy I was just reading about. Some guy who wrote a book about creativity or whatever, but he plagiarized stuff, or he took quotes out of context. I hate when people do that. Because especially if you're talking about something and it could be a promising area and then you lie about it and you screw up things instead of being honest. But I believe a lot of things about what we're all capable of doing. And I think if you practice things long enough, you get good at it. It's just like anything. It's the same thing like with my paintings. I practice this a lot. And that's how I got to be at least as good as this. This is not great. I'm not going to sit there and pretend like I'm Da Vinci or somebody. But, but the thing is, I've been doing this for almost 15 years or so. Of doing this. Of just doing this type of thing, painting. In the earlier paintings, I showed pictures of what they look like. They look like, it looks like stuff from kindergarten, but that's okay. I actually like my old stuff too. And if I keep painting, I'll paint stuff even better. I'll learn more and I'll practice things and I'll experiment. I'm constantly, I always feel like I'm in a constant state of learning. I'm never at that point where everything I do is finished work. Like I've learned it all and that's it. I don't have nothing else to do. I have nothing else to learn. No, life is constant learning. It's always learning more. You can always gain more. You can always do more. You can get better at something. You can improve. As long as I'm capable of doing it better, I'm never totally satisfied with what I do. And I think maybe there's some truth to this idea that, if you become completely satisfied with everything you do, then that's when you have a problem because you don't do better. I think I can be happy. I think it seems like a contradiction, but to be happy and not be satisfied. I'm never satisfied with what, that I did the best I possibly could. I did the best I could at this moment. But I learned things, in the process. And I say, yeah, I did that, but I could do a little bit better. I could improve this. With everything I do, whether it's cooking or painting or writing or making videos. If I had better technology and better ways and, a better understanding, if somebody could teach me a better way to do something, I'm willing, I'm open. I'm open to those possibilities of doing better. And I think about that. And it's just simple. I think one of the things, if people like my videos for any reason, it's because I'm straightforward and honest. I'm not something that pretend like I know all kind of things and stuff. I don't. I live in a world where I am very much aware of how ignorant I am about so many things. So it's like I believe, I'm more closer in my thinking to a Buddhist than I am to Christian. But, technically I'm a Christian. But I'm more like a Buddhist because, and I don't think those concepts are contradictory either. For a lot of different reasons, which I won't even get into why they're not contradictory. But the thing is that I believe in the thing about being a beginner on the path all the time. That you have to always be a beginner. Meaning that you take every day as if you would just, like this is the very beginning of everything. When you're starting something, you're open to things. You're open to learning. You're open to a new way of looking at something, a different way of interpreting things. That's the thing. And for a lot of people, they are not open to new ways of looking at things. They're not open to a new way of interpreting things. It's like we must maintain the old ways. We must maintain how we looked at it in the past and continue that all up into the future and fight anything that changes how we looked at things. And I think that's the big problem with some aspects of some religious people in some situations. I'm not a person who's going to sit there and say every religious person, every religious ideal, every religious way of looking at things is wrong. It's just that the people who want to kind of preserve things, I always think the only things that need to be preserved are things that are dead. You have a body and you put embalming fluid to preserve it, which is different from maintaining something. To maintain a thing, to let it grow and develop instead of preserving it, which really is kind of holding it back, stopping it from growing and developing into something better and improving. So my skills, I allow them to grow, or my abilities, I allow them to grow. I'm open to things that can help me to grow, and I'm not for things that can do the opposite. And to me, it's a simple way of looking at life. I know in a few minutes this thing is going to end, so I might as well stop right now at this point. This is all I really have to say. Who knows? Maybe I might actually put this up. I don't know. But I keep responding and saying things. I listen, I watch. Even if I don't always say things, I say this right now because I'm not. I think I have to think too much, and I don't like to think too much, and I don't want. And I always feel like if I say something, it's always going to come out sounding phony. If I write stuff, and I mean what I'm saying. I mean, yes, thank you. I appreciate you. I know that everybody know that I do appreciate if I put this up, but I might not, so I don't know. I think this is 11 minutes. I can see a little timer on the thing, so I'm going to stop right here, and I need to shave because my face looks kind of rough. That's all I got to say.